heavyweight bouts. This is round one of the light heavyweight division. Less than a minute to go now in round one. Al Fracker from the West Point Military Academy, representing the USA against a Red Army Lieutenant Anatoly Klemanov from Kharkov, USSR. Fracker snaps in an overhand right. Klemanov, with a great deal more experience, is scoring with straight left hands, and he has now started a swelling around the left eye of West Point cadet Al Fracker. There is the bell. That is the end of round one as Fracker looks over. To the left, you see Anatoly Klemanov of the Soviet Union. To the right, West Point cadet Al Fracker, as they are awaiting the bell now for the start of round two of the scheduled three-round light heavyweight bout. At this point in the competition, the Soviet fighters are leading 4 points to 2, 4 matches to 2 in best-of-11 competition. Anatoly Klemanov is a lieutenant in the Red Army, and you'll notice he is working all the time, always moving, always throwing punches. Fracker can probably hit harder, but he hasn't landed that many. Klemanov keeping him at bay with a straight left hand, snapping it right down the middle. And that hard left hook to the midsection brought down the hands of the Russian fighter. Now Fracker starts to force the action. Al Fracker burrowing inside. There is going to be a warning now. Anatoly Klemanov was holding Al Fracker when they got inside. You see Klemanov continue to work, continue to snap all kinds of punches. Under the rules of Olympic boxing, holding is not allowed. It's not tolerated. A fighter holds any too long after the referee yells break, and they yell it right away as soon as two fighters clinch. Why a warning is issued. 3 warnings cost the fighter the bout. Al Fracker trying to negate the better left hand of his Soviet opponent, now getting inside to throw his punches, as Klemanov is scoring time and again straight down the middle with the left hand. About a minute to go now in round two. .30 seconds to go in round two. This is the light heavyweight competition. 175 pounds as West Point cadet Al Fracker takes a hard left overhand hook delivered by his Soviet counterpart Anatoly Klemanov. Klemanov looking to open it up with those straight left hands and then coming over the top of the big sweeping rights. there is the bell and the end of round 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, may we bring to your attention that the 49th annual Golden Gloves boxing tournament begins here at the Bell Forum on Tuesday night, February 4th. The finals will be held in the big arena of the Garden on March 21st. Tickets for all Golden Gloves matches now are on sale at the Garden, the news, and through Ticketron outlets throughout the United States. Thank you.
All right, we're set to go with round 3. Representing the United States is a West Point cadet, Al Fracker from Michigan Center, Michigan. And a Red Army lieutenant is his counterpart for the Soviet Union, Lieutenant Anatoly Klemanov. Klemanov, a more experienced fighter, but Fracker, pig iron tough, keeps working inside, taking those left hands to get inside, and then flailing away. Round 3, and at this point in the competition, the Soviet Union leads 4 bouts to 2. A point scored for each victory. So through the first 6 bouts, the Soviet Union leads 4 points to 2. Now look at Al Fracker. Starts to tee off in the 3rd round, and he's shaken Klemanov a couple of times. Klemanov takes a hard right to the midsection. Now he comes back with a right of his own. And Madison Square Garden has come to its feet, this sold-out crowd, as the West Point cadet, fighting, not giving up. Took a lot of punches in the first 2 rounds, and now in the 3rd round, he comes right back at his Soviet opponent. 1 minute gone by in round 3. As Fracker again forces the action. Klemanov keeping his both hands high to protect his head and snapping in short punches. Al Fracker scores, and so does Klemanov. As here in the 3rd round, a lot of punches are landed. And now as we come down to about the 1 minute mark, 1 minute to go in the 3rd and final round, Al Fracker from West Point, wearing down from all the punches he's thrown and the many he's taken. Klemanov has also lost a lot of gas here in the 3rd round. Tremendous amount of energy expended. Look at the two Fenn trade punches, just teeing it off toe to toe. A cut has been opened over the right eye of Al Fracker, the West Point cadet. 15 seconds to go now in the 3rd round. And now the referee at the bell, just before the final bell, steps in to check Al Fracker's cut. Ruled he can go on, and there is the bell, and that is the end of the fight. As Fracker got a clean lick just after the bell rang. So Anatoly Klemanov and Al Fracker exchanged good fellowship, and certainly that is prevalent in this competition between the Americans and the Soviet fighters. A standing ovation here at Madison Square Garden as it comes down to a decision.
gentlemen, the winner from the Soviet Union.
There is the decision going to the Soviet fighter Anatoly Klemanov over West Point cadet Al Fracker, and so right now the Soviet Union fighters have taken a 5-2 lead. Now we'll look at a replay, and you'll see just how many punches that Anatoly Klemanov, the Russian fighter, on the right lands. Right here, Al Fracker's the aggressor, but Klemanov with both hands high. See him snap that overhand right in there. You see the head of Al Fracker shake back. There is Klemanov banging again inside. His experience showing, and he looks up at the clock. He's looking for that bell, too.
In the 178-pound light heavyweight class, introducing in the red corner from the Soviet Union, Oleg Karatayev. He's from Moscow. His opponent in the blue corner, representing the United States from Hempstead, Long Island, Eddie Davis.
Here we go now to a light heavyweight bout, 175 pounds. Representing the USA on the right side is Eddie Davis, the reigning New York Gloves light gold. Eddie Davis is the reigning New York Golden Gloves light heavyweight champion. That is Davis on the left. And his opponent in the white trunks from the Soviet Union, Oleg Karatayev, a man who has had over 280 fights. 27 years old, and to knock him down, you got to hit him with a ring post. Karatayev comes in with a underhand hook. Uppercutting. Karatayev will take as many punches you want to hit him with. He just burrows his way inside. Sheer overpowers his opponent. Tremendous strength, and certainly that strength is a factor when you've got a much younger fighter like Eddie Davis against a man he's giving away some 7 or 8 years to, Oleg Karatayev. This is round one of this light heavyweight bout, 175 pounds, from Madison Square Garden's Felt Forum here in New York. Now Eddie Davis stings Karatayev with a big sweeping left hand. Hard left hook. Davis with a lot more speed in his hands than his Russian opponent. And that lick there had to get Karatayev thinking. He gets him again with it. And Karatayev brings his right hand up high to protect against it. Now you'll notice the referee is telling both fighters, don't lead with your head. Lead with your hands. In Olympic boxing, butting is very much discouraged. Round one, Karatayev trying to get inside any way he can, just bullying his way in on his opponent, and then when he gets inside, he likes to flail away. But Eddie Davis of nearby Freeport, New York, doing a good job blocking him off, and now he scores with a combination, and Karatayev is hurt. Karatayev is hurt. But it takes so much to knock him down. Davis getting a lot of punches in. And a caution is given to Karatayev for holding. Davis, in the final minute and a half of this, the first round, getting a lot of punches in. Karatayev coming inside again, but once he's in there, he's not throwing nearly as many punches. He is very concerned about what Eddie Davis has to open up with. Davis stung him again with an overhand right. Karatayev comes back with a combination, but Davis with his hands up is there to block the punches. Eddie Davis drilling punches in on Oleg Karatayev. Oh, jarring right hand. A jarring right hand just before the bell, and here is a count being given. The bell rang, but we're going to have a standing 8 count because it was ruled that Karatayev was stunned by the punch. And so the end of round 1 as Eddie Davis comes on strong for the USA. Now we'll watch it again. Here is Eddie Davis with that straight overhand right hand coming right down the middle between the guard of Karatayev, coming back with another one. And there's the one that it looked like was going to take Karatayev down. Backed away and comes back in, and yet another one comes in. Catching him right on the button. Karatayev starts to go down, catches himself and stays on his feet, but he takes a standing 8 count before the bell. There is Eddie Davis, a young light heavyweight from Freeport, Long Island, in suburban New York City, going against the very, very tough Oleg Karatayev of the Soviet Union. Karatayev, with over 280 fights, was stunned late in the first round, and now Davis keeps it up, throwing combinations in. As the referee again gives caution not to lead with the head, lead with the boxing gloves, no butting. Karatayev, who was bullying his way in early in the first round, looking to bludgeon his opponent against the ropes, now very cautious. And he snaps off 3 good right hands. But watch Eddie Davis on the right with lightning fast hands. He was just too fast for Karatayev, the experienced Soviet fighter, to defend against in the first round. Davis is waiting to go with those combinations. Both fighters told to break, and they quickly do so. Karatayev coming in with a low left uppercut, coming in with a right hand, and now Eddie Davis, who is doing so well, standing at a distance and flailing in with combination punches. The long right hands is now going inside. You have to wonder if Eddie Davis isn't wearing down a little bit now here in the second round. Karatayev again puts both hands up as Davis powders away. Eddie Davis snaps back the head of Oleg Karatayev with a straight lightning light left jab. Karatayev comes with a big left hand, and Davis counters. This is round 2 of the light heavyweight competition. Through the first 7 bouts, the Soviets are leading 5-2. One minute to go in round 2. Oleg Karatayev, who was stunned very badly in the first round, now starting to rejuvenate as he, with his powerful inside punching, forcing his way in, is wearing down the stamina of Eddie Davis of the USA. Now Davis comes right back with that long overhand right that almost took Karatayev down in the first round. Karatayev almost off his feet as he lunges in with a left hook. Eddie Davis again scoring, and there is the bell and the end of round 2. And another big finish for Eddie Davis of the USA as we get set for the final round. It is. We'll put a lot into the third round. It might be a user. Now we'll watch on replay. You'll see the Soviet fighter Oleg Karatayev get hit with that overhand right. And that is just sheer speed that gets Eddie Davis home. Comes right in over the guard of Oleg Karatayev and then snaps another one in at him. So Karatayov, who is about as tough a guy and about as good at taking a punch as anybody you'll see, has been stunned now in consecutive rounds. We are ready now for the start of the third and final round of this light heavyweight bout. Eddie Davis of Freeport, Long Island, the USA on the left. His Soviet counterpart is Oleg Karatayov, perhaps the most experienced Soviet fighter with over 280 bouts. He's 27 years old. Karatayov has seldom been hurt in his career, let alone knocked down. And in this bout, Eddie Davis of the United States has hurt him in both the first two rounds. Davis, with superior speed, has been snapping in overhand rights. But Davis can't open up too much. He has to be cautious of Karatayov. All these Russians are attacking fighters. They are not counterpunchers. Their style is strictly to be the aggressor, to burrow inside, start flailing away. Karatayov liking to get Davis inside where he can hook him in close. Davis has scored his best punches from a distance, as he did just then. Davis teeing off again. Very well done by Eddie Davis of the USA. Now Karatayov starts to hold, and referee Eddie Urbeck separates them. This is the third and final round of this light heavyweight bout. At this point in the competition here at sold-out Felt Forum of Madison Square Garden, the Soviet fighters lead the U.S. 5-2. It's best of 11. Eddie Davis of Freeport, Long Island might have been stunned there. He is starting to wear down as we have about a minute and a half to go in the third and final round. Karatayov, a bull-like fighter, tremendous stamina. He was hurt bad in the first two rounds of this fight, and yet he comes back slugging away, almost like he's hitting the heavy bag in a drill when he gets inside, thumping inside. Eddie Davis is being told by his cornermen to back away and box him. One minute to go now in the third round, the final round. In 5 previous fights against fighters in the USA, Karatayov has won them all. But now he's holding as he has been stunned again by Eddie Davis of the USA. 35 seconds to go in round 3, the final round. Karatayov trying to fight inside and get in those short right hands. When they fought at a distance, Davis has been far and away the point man in this fight. He has been getting the point punches, those Olympic punches, the white portion of the glove, striking flush. That's how the punches are scored. The in-close mauling and wrestling counts nothing. Now Karatayov trying to finish with a flurry. And Oleg Karatayov ends up with a flurry at the bell, but Eddie Davis of the United States acquits himself very well against a fighter who has never lost in 5 previous matches against fighters in the USA, Oleg Karatayov.